A few weeks ago, we were tossing around ideas for our next juicy short, and one that stood out was something about Plone's content rules. Those handy automations that make an editor's life so much easier. But the more we chatted about it, the more it felt too big for something with short in the title. So instead of squeezing it in, we decided to give it the time it deserves. And what better time to take the time than on World Plone Day? Astrid's joining me for this one because she has a ton of questions. What content rules can do, how they work, and how they can save you time and effort. So let's dive in.
Okay, so we're talking about content rules, but what exactly do they do? Are we talking about just sorting content, or is it more than that? And first, let's look at what exactly is content. I see that word can be an adjective and a noun, but here we are talking about the noun, I guess. Content rules might make one content, or they have the power to do so. Bring you to a state of happiness. That's a life goal.
If only. As much as the state of Plone makes me content, we are not referring to my state of mind. Content rules in Plone are like automated assistants that handle repetitive tasks for you. They let you set up if this, then that kind of logic. So when something happens, like a page being created or a file being uploaded, Plone can automatically move it, notify someone, or even change its workflow state. So instead of manually tidying up content, chasing approvals, or remembering to archive old news, content rules do their heavy lifting, keeping everything organized, consistent, and efficient.
That sounds great. But is this something that only big organizations with lots of editors need, or can it be useful even if I'm managing a small site on my own?
So they work for any size company or website. They handle the repetitive tasks that slow you down, regardless of the size of the site you're managing. Any size business generally needs help with saving time by automating routine tasks, keeping content structured by ensuring consistency, or reducing human error by making sure the right people are notified when something changes. For content editors, that means less admin work and more focus on quality. For site administrators, it's an easy way to enforce good content practices. And for organizations with multiple editors, it ensures consistency across the team without constant oversight.
Okay, but if content rules can automate so much, why not just let them handle everything? Can't we just set up a bunch of rules and let the site run itself?
So while content rules are powerful, they aren't a full automation system or a replacement for workflows. They don't replace careful content planning. They won't make strategic decisions for you, and they can't replace good editorial judgment, but they can assist in it. Think of them as a set of smart shortcuts, not a replacement for people.
All right. I get why they're useful, but how do I actually set one up? Do I need to write code, or is it something I can just configure?
A content rule in Plone follows a simple logic. It has a trigger. What event should activate the rule? For instance, when a page is created or modified. Then there's a condition. Should the rule apply to everything or only in specific cases? So, for instance, only if a page is in a specific section of the website. And then there's the action. What happens when the rule is triggered? You can move the content, change workflow state, or send a notification. That's it. A rule listens for a trigger, check if it meets the right conditions, and then takes action. Simple, yet incredibly useful. Unlike a lot of other content management systems, Plone's content rules don't require any plugins to work, and they are simple or as complicated as you need them to be. To actually answer the question that you asked, you can set up most of the rules you'd need through the site's front end. They support workflows, updates, notifications, and even custom scripts. So let's get to the practical part.
Okay.
Now that we know why content rules matter and how they work, let's dive into some practical examples, starting with the most common and useful rules that you can set up today. I will be sharing my screen so you can actually see what I'm getting up to.
Excellent.
Okay, so content rules are found in your site setup section. I'll be demoing this in Volto as well, but it is available in Plone Classic setup as well. So if we go through to the content rules, you'll see I've actually set up some of these rules already. But to start setting it up, we'll add a content rule. We'll give it a title. So in this case, we'll call it publication notification rule. And obviously, because some of us work in larger teams, a short description might actually be quite handy. So you can type something about what this rule actually does for other users. Then the triggering event. So for a publishing notification rule, we will actually use workflow state change because it will be triggered on something being published. We won't be enabling it yet because obviously we need to set up the rule first. And then you also, for any rule that you set up, you have the ability to stop it from executing other rules as well. So you can actually just tell it that no other rules must be executed when this rule executes, or that it mustn't allow other rules that trigger because this rule has triggered to then happen as well. So for instance, because otherwise, if you say publish, move it to another folder, but when something gets added to that folder, it gets moved to another folder, you might have things happening that should actually not be happening. So
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
we save that rule, and now we can go and configure it. So the condition for this is the workflow transition, and we'll add that. And the transition is when it gets made public. Okay. Where am I not seeing publish? Okay. Then when something gets published, we will be sending an email. And
that's then the action.
Yeah. So that is the email that will be sent when this item gets published. So we will obviously just say that something is being published. The email source, because we usually set up an email address for the site to send from, I think that is good enough for this, but you can make it come from a specific email address if necessary.
Oh, really? Even outside your organization?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about that one. We'll have to check.
And the recipients can go to anybody?
Yeah, the recipient can go to anybody. So that can just go to anybody who has to maybe check the content, or just an administrator or even your marketing team to tell them there's a new article, go and publicize as you need to. So for this one, we'll just edit it. And if you actually have a whole bunch of editors listed here, and you as the one editor are sending the email because you're the one that published it, it will actually, you can then exclude yourself from that email being sent out.
Okay.
And then the message is just something like work's been published. Check.
Okay. So if there's a specific action that you need them to do.
Yeah. So you can put as much or as little information in that as you need to. So then we can go back to our list of rules, and you can now enable it. And you'll see it is not yet assigned. So now you can actually go and assign it to the spaces that you want to assign it to. So you can go, this is only relevant for your news section. This is maybe relevant for the entire site. Then you go and set it up in that section or in the entire site as you need to.
Oh, how handy. And you can also enable it and disable it for sections when you need it and don't need it. You don't need to delete the whole rule and then try and remember what you did last time.
Exactly, exactly. So if we look at the event wrap-up rule, so I'm just going to configure the one that we've set up. You'll see that the triggers that we set up for this, or the conditions we set up for this, is that it is an event and that the workflow transition is that you've made it private. And then the action is that we then move that event into your past events. So it just makes it tidy up your website because you've actually set content to private. And that you just need to make sure, because when you do edit it, it gives you the opportunity to go and find that folder. So I've got a past events and save it.
Oh, and then you don't need to remember yourself because you maybe been busy with that event and you're exhausted, and then you still need to remember to move it.
Exactly.
Now you don't need to anymore.
Exactly. And it also just makes sure that, again, if you've got a large team, then everybody's past events goes into the same past events folder. So not everybody's going to now create their own little niche on the website for past events, for instance. If we go and look at your PDF collector rule, I'm quite a big fan of this one, is you might want to keep specific items in your resources organized and separate. So the first condition is that it is a file item. And then the second condition is that that file item is a PDF. And then you actually tell it to move it. So this is the action. To move it, you might be adding it in your resources, but it actually goes and puts it in a PDF folder in your resources. So all your little PDFs are kept safely together. And then just a little extra that I've added here is I've actually then sent or added an email that we've added a new PDF to resources, and that they must just check the publication date and the author information. So again, those emails that you send out can be as specific as you need them to be. So what do these people need to check for? And then also keeping in mind that I can send multiple emails. So you can send an email to the editor to check for certain things. You can send an email to your manager to tell them that it's been done, and you can then send it to your marketing team to tell them, go and publicize because we have a new resource on the website.
Oh, so actually,
multiple items.
Sorry to interrupt, but with a large site, if you put your set the rule up correctly, wherever a PDF gets uploaded, you could set it to go and find all those PDFs and go and put them all in resources /PDFs, irrespective of where people are sprinkling their PDFs on the site. And in the end, they all land up in the same place, but the Plone site itself knows where to show which one, because that's when you dropped it into the hole, or into the slot.
Exactly. So, something that might be a bit more practical for people, because maybe not everybody has a resource section, is that an image item gets targeted, and you just put all your images in an image folder. So same kind of thinking.
Very nice.
Okay. So setting up these rules should give you a good idea of how to go about working with this interface. Um, if you're comfortable with tails expressions or custom scripts, content rules can go even further. You could base rules on things like how long content has existed, which tags are added, what the publication and expiration date is, and just so much more. So think of these things like, or think of things like auto archiving by age, reminding you when an item has been stuck in draft for too long, or even for adding forgotten metadata. So you've forgotten to add a description, you can take action based on that. So customizations can go, again, as deep as you need them to go. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to stop sharing this quickly. At the end of the day, with or without scripting, content rules will never replace good content planning or the thoughtful care that an editor puts into the site, structure, and flow.
Right, yeah, but it looks like they do take care of the repetitive stuff like tagging, moving content, or sending reminders. So editors can focus on the important things. And the fact that editors can put these content rules in place themselves means that the rules can come from the people who actually need them and that have the full context.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not harder. And also, since there's a lot to take in, we've put together a little content rules cheat sheet.
Oh, yes, yes, you remember, you mentioned that. That's great. We've put the link to the cheat sheet in the description. It covers everything we've talked about today, plus a handy breakdown of triggers, conditions, and actions to help you get you started.
So no excuses. Go and try some content rules. Thanks for watching, and happy World Plone Day.
Yes, happy World Plone Day. Thanks,
Cheers,
Karel.
everybody.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.